What's up, y'all? I'm out here at the range, as you can see back behind me. Been out here all day having a lot of fun doing some really interesting testing. Been some fantastic weather out here, but it's getting towards the end of the day. I think I got time for one more test, so I'm gonna end it out with a couple of big boy rounds. So the jelly contraption's been out here hanging tough all day long. I got the chrono and 2 blocks of gel. Now I've done a few tests already. This far block is pretty full. This front one I've done one test, and it was a Magnum test. I tried to keep them towards that back side so I'll have plenty of room up front here. I think we should have enough room to see what's going on with this one, although they're probably going to go to distance, so it might get a little tricky on this end down here. Now, even though I don't think either one of these rounds is going to care a thing about this cloth, I am going to stick with the heavy clothing barrier with the layer of denim, layer of fleece, and then 2 layers of the cotton t-shirt material. So like I said, what we got here is a couple of big boy rounds. We got some 454 Casull and some 460 Magnum. Now, people have been asking me to test some stuff through this 460, so I figured I might as well. And then another reason I'm doing it now is because I've got somebody sending me some 454 Casull, so I want to have kind of a baseline to compare those against when I do the testing on those. So what I got here today is a couple of California friendly rounds, I guess you could call them. Both of them copper projectiles. Now the Barnes Vor-TX, this is the 454 Casull. This one's got a 250 grain XPB hollow point projectile, solid copper expanding hollow point, got a big old opening on the end there with a brass case. Now the velocity on that one's saying 1700 feet per second. I'm not sure what size barrel that's out of, so we may not see that, just depending on what they tested it out of. And then for the bigger big boy, I figured we might as well throw in a 460 to go with it. So again, a copper round here. This is the Hornady Handgun Hunter Monoflex, 200 grain Monoflex solid copper expander. Now this one here is saying 2150 feet per second on the box, and being that it is called Handgun Hunter, I expect we may see that. I mean, just a big old cartridge, brass, and it's actually filled with that elastic, like gooey stuff that the G2s were filled with, so I'm hoping that's not a bad thing. I don't think it will be at that kind of speed. If we see those speeds or close to it, I don't think it's really going to matter what's going on. These things are going to open up. Now, of course, the tool we're running these through today is my good old Smith Wesson 460 Magnum. This is the 7.5-inch Performance Center version, so just a beautiful revolver there. So this ought to get those things moving pretty good. But this ought to be a good fun way to give this jelly a good smacking before we head out for the day. So let me get this stuff set up and let's check them out. All right, let's see what kind of speeds we can get out of these monsters, y'all. I'm gonna do a 5-round average. I'm gonna start with the 454 Casull first. Now remember, these are saying 1700 feet per second on the box, which I really don't expect to see from these. But let's see what these things are running for us, y'all. 5-round average here. 1617, 1629, 1643, 1644, and 1619, so not too far off that 1700. Let's go down there and check the average out. All right, so our 5-round average that time was 1630 feet per second, so only 70 off from what they claimed on the box. So out of a 7.5-inch barrel, that's not too bad, because I'm almost positive that they measured that out of a longer than a 7.5-inch barrel. But let's get this thing reset and let's check out them big 460 Magnums. All right, let's see what the big boys do, y'all. The 460 Magnum. Now, these are only 200 grains, so you're talking about 50 grains lighter than that 454 Casull, so they're saying 2100 feet per second. I'll just tell you now, I've run some 200 grain 460 Hornadys before, not these same ones, but some other ones, and they were nothing like a full power, what I consider a full power 460. So these things probably ain't gonna be real powerful. Now, relatively speaking, they're definitely still real powerful, but as far as some other 460 rounds. But let's see what we get though. Let's see if we hit that 2100 they're claiming. Got 2171. Whew, that is a heck of a report off this thing, y'all. 2201. 2304. 2230. And 2212, so we got every bit of that 2100 and then some. Not much recoil, not much more recoil over that 454 Casull, honestly. They feel about the same, but the report out of this thing is way, way louder. This thing is super, super loud. But let's go down here and check that data and see what we got. All right, y'all, that time our 5-round average from these 460 Magnums was 2,223 feet per second. That is smoking right there. If you remember on them 454 Cazulls, it was 1,630. So you talking about what? 593 feet per second faster from this 460 Magnum. That is a huge difference right there. Now, granted, that Casull has got a 50 grain heavier projectile, so it's still a difference in energy, but not as big as it sounds like with the speed. So I think both of these are just gonna rock this gel. There's no question about it. Well, let me get this reset and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's Cali compliant jelly time. I'm gonna put one of each round into the gel. We're gonna start with this 454 Casull first. See what she does. I got my tarp down there just in case something goes bad here. It could, you never know. Let's see what we get. All right, that should have been a perfect hit right there. Let me go down there and see what we got. All right, no real surprise what we got down there from that one right there. Just pure devastating power dumped into that jelly block. So let's see what this 460 can do. I went a little bit lower than I wanted to with that, so I hope I can keep this out of the bottom. Let's see what we can get with it, y'all. Ah, that definitely went into the bottom. I'm gonna have to reset that. That's an absolute mess down there. All right, let's try that one more time, y'all. I done blasted the board in half down there and everything. We actually caught that projectile though, and it looks really good, so I know it's gonna do well. I just gotta figure out how to keep one in the gel without going into that board. Let's see if I can move her on up a little bit here. Good day, y'all. I don't think I hit the board again, did I? No, I didn't hit the board again. It just went all to pieces down there. I mean, this thing don't play right here. Let's go check it out and see what we got. All right, y'all, let's check out what we got down here. Absolute devastation is what we got. That's the bottom line, but we got 3 rounds in here. So first off, I've got you pulled back, obviously, because they went so far. This track right up here, that's your one from the 454 Casull. So no question about it. It didn't even care nothing about no cloth being there, period. Came in, started opening up immediately. Very nice wound channel and disruption all the way through the first block into the second block, still making really nice wound action there, and it stopped right there, and really nice expansion on that thing. It's probably 2/3 of the way through this second block. And in the 460 Magnums, the first one down here, it actually didn't even go into the board, but there was just so much energy that it literally busted this 2x6 or 2x8 in half. It busted that 2x8 completely in half just from the force where it was right up against it, because it came in, I don't know how well y'all can see, but it's fully in the gel right there, but it's just right at the bottom of it. Keeps on trucking here through that first block into the second block, and there you see it right there, fully expanded, even though it touched that wood and dumped all that energy right there and got disrupted, it still got full expansion and is sitting down here in the gel. And I'm actually kind of glad that happened, because then we had to take the second one, and it's the one right up above it. That's where I meant to put the first one. I just dropped it about 1 inch too low, but again, incredibly nice wound channel, just crazy amounts of disruption, dumps all that cloth right out of the way. Looks like we got a little bit of copper dropped off right there. Keeps on trucking through the first block into the second block, and then it goes right here and ends right there, and it's really nicely expanded. And interesting to see, this just shows you how much power this 460 Magnum has. Even though that one right there had so much disruption getting close to that wood like that and messing its path all up, it's still fully expanded and still got almost almost full penetration, just like the one that did not have any problem with the wood. So as far as the penetration, this 454 Casull is all the way out here at 27 inches of penetration. And in our 460 Magnums, the one that was down at the very bottom up against the wood, that one's at 21 3/4 of an inch of forward momentum. And then the one that's up in the gel here, that one's at 23 1/4 inches. So like I said, those things have so much power, even that disruption that it was caused by the wood down there didn't give much trouble to that 460 at all. So here's just some closer looks. That one right there in the front at the top, that's the 454. Then the one down there at the bottom, that's the 460. And then you can see on the bottom where that other 460 went in. So we'll follow them here. Just crazy, crazy amounts of disruption. You can see a little bit of copper in that one right there. Carries on through here, through this first block, into the second block, and then there's the one that was down at the bottom. You can see the really nice expansion on that. There's the other 460, again, just crazy amounts of expansion. And then there's your 454 Casull, again, very, very nice expansion. All right, y'all, let's check out these projectiles down here. Very nice looking stuff right here. These copper rounds, all solid copper rounds, when they expand nicely, they are some really nice looking stuff. This one right here is the 454 Casull. That was that Barnes Vor-TX. Really nice big copper petals on that one. Incredible expansion right there. I mean, I don't even think I've got to say anything. That thing just opened up super, super nice. And then these two are the Hornadys here. This one is the one that was up into the gel. This one is the one that was down right up against the wood there, and you can see that definitely had some effect on it as far as expansion, because there's no doubt. I mean, look at this one right here. It peeled those petals all the way back up under the base. Just massive, massive expansion. Whereas this one now, don't get me wrong, this thing expanded more than adequate, but you can tell, look at that big divot down there, and look how far this one's peeled back and that one isn't it. So that wood definitely had some kind of effect, and there's a lot more copper lost than I thought there was now that I look in the gel, and you can just see it on these petals. So that tells you right there, when you're shedding pieces of copper like that from these solid copper projectiles, you working with some power right there, buddy. So let's get us a few measurements on them. We'll start with the weight. This 454 Casull started at 250 grains, and we are sitting at 248.8. So maybe a little bit of loss on that one. It's really hard to say. I don't know that I see anything in the gel. It's really discolored, so it's hard to say. Could be tolerances, but could have lost just a little bit. And then these 460s here started at 200. This one here that was down there towards the bottom is at 193.8. So definitely some loss on that one. And then this one here that was up in the middle of the gel is actually at 190.8. So some loss on that one, and I can actually see the copper from this one right here, so there was no question it lost some material. Now as far as the expansion, we'll start here with this 454 Casull. You got 756, 755, and that's a big one there at 815. So just absolutely massive, very, very nice expansion off that 454 Casull. And then for these 460s, we'll check out this one here that was up in the middle of the gel. You got 675, 684, and 692. So really nice expansion on that one. And we'll go ahead and check this one here that was down on the bottom too. You got 777, 760, and 783. So just absolutely massive, fantastic expansion out of all three of these projectiles. And there you have it, y'all. Some solid copper 454 Casull and 460 Magnum. I mean, what else is there to say about these things? Just one look at these rounds, one look in the gel, one look at the energy and velocity numbers just tells you that you are dealing with a potent package right here. I mean, I've got so much copper right here, I feel like I could take this to the recycling center and get enough for lunch out of these things. I mean, just huge, huge chunks of copper going down range at just massive velocities and tons of energy. There's no doubt that either one of these things would do pretty much any job that you need to get done. All right, y'all, I can't think of a better way to end the day out than with a big bore revolver test. Like I said, there's really nothing that needs to be said here. These things are just absolute devastation. You talking about 250 grain and 200 grain projectiles. That 460 is moving, just doing some quick math. Of course, I'll put it up on the chrono, but that stuff's over a ton of energy. That's as much energy as that 308 round that we tested out here the other day. Both of those 308 rounds. A ton of energy from a 7.5-inch revolver revolver. Even that 454 Casull, if I'm doing some math right, is going to be around 1,500 foot-pounds of energy. That is just massive, massive stopping power right there. But let me know what y'all think about the performance you saw out of these things out here. Do any of y'all have one of these 460s? I know some of y'all do because we've talked about it in the comments before, but let me know what kind of stuff you run out of your 460. Like I mentioned earlier, these 200 grain rounds, this is on the lighter side. This is on the weaker side of 460, so you can get some really, really massive power out of these things. But let me know what kind of rounds y'all might run out of y'all's if you have one. If you enjoyed the video, reach down and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you got them notifications on so you don't miss any fun stuff like this. Take a second if you would and check out them affiliate links in the video description. If you shop through Amazon, you know the deal there. Hit up my storefront link first if you would. You go right through Amazon just like normal from there, and anything you buy after that, I get a kickback from them towards the channel. Same deal with those Axle links. If you're in the market for some really nice ear pro, check out those GS Extreme earbuds. If you go through those links down there, you'll save a pile of money instead of going straight to their site. Once again, I appreciate all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all out there for supporting the channel. That's going to wrap it up for a long, fun day of testing out here. Some really good stuff headed y'all's way, so be on the lookout for it. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.